Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning. This is a honor and pleasure today that we can have a special guest, Ahmard Vital, that is a special guest for today. He's going to talk about himself, about his release book, and going to talk to us about everything. And it's an honor today that we can have Ahmard Vital with us. Vital, how are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
And then my pleasure to have you too. And then talk to us about yourself, and then who you are and what are you doing so far in the motivational world that we're living now. And then I see that you are an author, motivational speaker, and what has impacted me that you do speech for Salvation Army, that I have my relatives, my sisters, my brothers were involved in that, and my nephews as well, and has impacted when I read that you did speech for that great organization. For the further ado, talk to us about yourself, Ahmad. Please welcome to our show today.
Thank you for having me again, Daniel. And it's things have been complicated over the years because obviously you start off one way and then you end up another way. But one consistent thing I've always stood by is the fact that I'm a writer. I would say I learned to walk, and then I had a pen in my hand by within months. Jokingly say that, but I've always been a writer at hand. That's something that I've done. I've written for newspapers since the age of 14. And I carried on through that through college. Even when I graduated from college, I continued writing. And I don't think I've stopped writing at any point in my life. Obviously, speaking came as a position of writing my first book, Awaken the Baller Within, in 2011.
Okay,
But writing is my core. And obviously, I've evolved into a speaking led into, consulting and coaching, and then
that's
consulting
great.
led into curriculum writing, and obviously during that time I've had some adversities, and so getting more into the spiritual side of things and the religious side of things, which is when the Salvation Army happened, when I started speaking in churches, doing now teen ministry. And so it's been a nice little circular thing, but all of it comes
That's
back to the fact
nice.
that I'm a writer. But and it's a beautiful thing, especially being able to serve our youth today.
Praise God. I hear. I'm glad to hear about that. And then one thing that you said that the part in my heart, you'll never stop writing. And then for me, it is your gift. It's something the Lord I give it to you, and then you'll never give up. Like you can stop doing many things, stop working with companies, but stop writing. You can't. This is your personal gift that the Lord I given to you. I'm glad to hear that. And then by the way, Armard, talk to us about your Willis book. I read that you have a new Willis book in this month or in this year. Please let us know about that book, please.
So yeah, in January of 2023, just a couple of months ago, I released my newest book. Now, what 5 steps to get up and create the most of life? It was written at a time when there were a lot of things going on. Right there in the summer of 2020. For those of you, your audience who was around, maybe you noticed there
Yes.
was a few things going on in the world. Just a few. Whether you're in the West or in the East or wherever, things were going on all over the place. Things got very tense here in the West, obviously, in the United States. Um, and so I just started listening to a lot of the commentary. Obviously, there was a spiritual movement going on. There was a political movement going on. There was a cultural movement going on. But of course, at the core of it, it was all spiritual. And I just
Mhm.
I just had enough. I was tired of hearing about the entitlement, what you're owed, and that things aren't fair for me, and where's my piece of the pie? And I'm like,
Mhm.
no one owes you anything. Like, I don't care where you came from or how you came up. No one owes you anything. So I started thinking about that from an entitlement delayed gratification standpoint, also with the idea that if someone is in a very trying time in their life,
Mhm.
what would I do to be able to help them through that?
That's
Like,
great.
what's the steps? What are the steps?
Nice.
And now what was created with those steps? And so took a couple of profiles from people who
Mhm.
had, as you say, been in the gutter, been in the trenches, and just
Mhm.
couldn't find their way out of the rabbit hole
That's
that they had
nice.
created for themselves. And so we focus on 5 steps to be able to create this better life. And the first one starts off with reflection. You need to know where you are. look
Yes.
around and see there's a
Correct.
lot of carnage around you. It's rough, it's dirty. There's a pile of clothes over there. There may be a fire started over there.
Yeah.
There's some death over there. There's some depression over here. And it's like you just unpack sort of where your life is.
Yes.
As Napoleon Hill would call, take personal inventory of your life. Like what's good, what's bad, what's not so, like basically where's our current status. And
Yes.
so we go through a full process of that where we look at things from a gratitude standpoint. And it's tough to do when you're going through a rough patch or a bad season, to look at the gratitude in something. But we start off there with reflection. And then once we come out of the reflection stage, we go into deciding, like, okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's not so awesome, but let's decide, what does an awesome life look like? What do I want?
Yes.
I'm in this rabbit hole. It's dark. What do I want? And so you start writing down, like, hey, what degree do I want to pursue? What job do I want to go after? What skills do all of these different things, like, what do I want to do in my life? If life was good, what would I be doing?
Correct.
So we work that. So then after you reflect and decide, now you plan. It's like, okay, I want to be an auto mechanic.
Yeah.
I want to be a professor. I want to be a teacher. I want to be in middle management. Okay, now we're there. So how do we do that? Do we need training? Do we need some skills? Do we need what do we need to be able to accomplish this goal?
Correct.
Like, does it require resources? How much money do we need for this? Where's the best place to go get training for this?
Yes.
What are the steps to do this? And so obviously you reflect, decide, and you plan. So this is when you start putting together mind maps. You start putting together perhaps a business plan. You start putting together a structure for your life and saying, okay, I need to see the big goal is up here, and we work in reverse. What can I do today, each day, to bring me closer to the goal we decided in the previous step?
Correct. Amen. That's true.
So once we get that going, then it's time to go into action. And I always tell people, like, plan as much as you can, but go into action, because a lot of times, and your audience, and maybe you have decided to figure this out, everything you put on that planning, things are not going to always go exactly as it is, but you won't know that until you go in. You're going to roadblocks. You're going, ask anyone who's ever started a business, ask them if they've ever counted all the costs. Stuff goes over budget, different regulations and permits. So you want to make sure and just go at it and just learn along the way and continue to autocorrect, try again, do these different things. But you have to get into action, because without action, you can't see the blessings. You can't see the fruition of what you're doing without going into action, even if you feel like you're not ready. Because I will share something with your people. You will never be ready.
Yes.
You'll never be fully ready because you don't know what's to come. You don't know when a global pandemic will happen. You don't know when the economy will crash.
Absolutely.
You don't know when your family structure may change. You may have a separation. You may have a death. You don't know any of these things. And that will change every one of your plans, literally just like that. So you need to be prepared for that and just take the action and make the moves. And our last of the 5 steps is going to be to seek counsel. So you're wanting to go into this industry. You're wanting to do something new. Who's the expert in that field? Who can help you? Who can you be an apprentice for?
Yes.
Who can you learn from? How many resources have you sought out? How many people have you reached out to? Do you have someone to, what I like to call, check your moral barometer? Like, it's not so much business sense, but it's more so, hey, is there going to be someone to say, hey, maybe you're doing this in an incorrect way. There's a more ethical way to do this. Who's the person who's going to be your business advisor?
Yes.
Who's going to be the one who's going to provide you maybe the funding to be able to do this? And then just someone who's going to maybe pray for you, right? Someone who's just going to empower you, who's going to pour into you. Where's your community? Seeking is when you build the community around you, a community of righteous people, of business people, of spiritual people who are going to help you get from point A to point B, because you don't know how to get there, but they blaze some trails. An elder statesman, a patriarch, someone who can bring everything together and say, hey, let me help you put together this blueprint. Let me walk with you, and let me hold you accountable for what you say you want. That's very important. When you put down that stuff on plain tablets, who's going to be the one to hold you accountable and say, hey, where are we on step 3 of this?
You're right.
Have you already filed this over here? Have you went ahead and made this contact over here? Have you registered for this school over here?
Yes.
Someone going to hold you accountable. And then, like I said, you get those people in place, and then that's the 5 steps to be able to move you forward and be able to get what you need out of life, no matter how far the rabbit hole you have dug for yourself.
Correct. Ahmard, thank you very much for all those tips. Let us show your book that you have right now, because I remember you have the book in your hands. I can see the cover, and then that's great. Now what? That's wonderful title, Ahmard. Now what? And then you say,
Mhm.
I got a plan, and you said, I got a plan. Yes, I got the vision, but what? What is step?
And really, now what is like, hey man, my life is kind of terrible right now. I don't know what's going on. And someone looks over at you and just like, okay, now what?
Now
It's
what?
like, wait a minute, you're not even taking into my pity party,
Mhm.
my woe is me. Like, no, no, what are we going to do? Do you want a better life? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right? You have to qualify these things, because nothing just happens. Nothing happens in a vacuum. And here's the thing: no one is coming to save you.
Of
No
course
one.
not. You
No
have to
one.
for and I remember that a story about that a man fell in the pit, and then he just doesn't do nothing. And they told me, do something. Reach out your hands. People can take you out of the pit. But if you never do any actions, nobody will save you from the pit. You have to cry, you have to yell, you have to say, help me. You have to cry for help, right? And then if Jesus, if you don't, even if he knows what we need, if you don't ask him, he said, ask me anything you want. I'll give it to you according to my will. And if you never ask, you never ask for help, no one will save us. And that's very important. Even if a baby, when he needs help, what he say, he cries. He cries for food. He cries for me. He cries because he's alone in the house. And then until mama comes and save him or her, depending on the baby. And that's very important to say that we have to do action step. As we know that people say that actions speak louder than words. We have a
Mhm.
bunch of plan next year. I'm going to do this, but if you never take any single action, how are you going to realize those projects? And then actions is the best way to achieve our goals, as Ahmad just said. And I believe that that's why we have coach uh, our coaches to help us to take action plan. It's not to command you, it's not to push you, it's to help you do action step related to your goal. Because there's many people, they have goals since last year. They've accomplished them. How gonna be accomplished them? Now we are 2023, and next year gonna be 2024. And you have plans that should be accomplished since 2021 or 22. You know what I mean? And then that's why Harmony is here to motivate you, and then to say, hey, now what? Go for it. That's amazing, Armor. Now tell us where people can find you. We get a platform, people can find you easily. And most of your Facebook, or if they're in a platform, they can find the book that you just released this year. Please.
So ahmardvital.com, that's AHMARD VITAL.com. That's the hub for everything. There's product there. There's my books there. There's booking information there, and there's also contact information there. Now, what is available on all the book selling platforms? I think the last my publisher told me it's on 33 different ones. So whatever one is your favorite one,
Okay.
please by all means go pick up a copy. If you want to preview it and see sort of how the steps are laid out, because they're laid out in very simple ways. Your audience can go to
Okay.
booknowwhat.com, booknowwhat.com. They can get a preview digital copy. My publisher made that available to them, so
Correct.
they can go check that out. Ahmad Vital on every social media platform, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Facebook.
It's just my name. No
Okay.
no alias, no pen name for the most
Yeah.
part. But definitely would like to hear from your people. And if there's anyone out there who maybe is at that crossroads and have maybe a now what moment, wanting to pivot into something else and make some new moves. They just put daily inspirational quotes podcast, and just let them know that they came from here. And we'll set up something. Maybe we'll set up a 30-minute session with them, sort of get them on a path to unpack some things. I'll do that for your audience here, especially if you have some young people in your life. You have some young teenagers, some young adults who maybe they're on their way into school or just came out of school, and they're just at that crossroads of like, I want to do something. I don't know what skills I have. Like they haven't figured out how to monetize what they know. Send them over to me as well, and just use this platform as a means to let me know where you came from, and we'll set something up for them and get them a couple of consults, and we'll take care of that as a service back to your audience.
Perfect, perfect. This is a service, and then does because it also the Amazon, right? Because people are familiar with Amazon. This is a more popular platform, for sale. People is available Amazon too, right? Amazon.
Yes, obviously it's available there.
Okay,
Things are
good,
available
good,
there.
good, good,
Yes.
good. And then basically that you just said that what is your question again? I didn't hear. I didn't get it. What is your question again?
No, I was saying if there's any young people who are in need or kind of at that tough spot, because obviously I do work with a lot of young people, young adults, so they can just mention your podcast,
Oh
and
yes.
we'll get a session set up for those young men and ladies if there's a need there. Definitely want to be someone of service and be able to put that out there to be able to help as many as possible as this platform of working with young people is growing. Want to make sure that I make myself available for
Okay.
God's good people in these streets.
And that would be amazing, Ahmad. I'm going to let you in contact with my nephew. He lives in Washington, D.C., a block called Baltimore.
Mm.
His name is Bernabe Macaroni. Yeah, he's like his name right here is a surgeon or a pastor at Salvation Army. We have a lot of them. I have my brother Josh Trey Bernabe. He's retired from Salvation Army. I have also uh Eva Bernabe. I got a podcast with her recently. They are also part of Salvation Army. And then I will let you in contact with them so that they can invite you to have like speech with other churches because Salvation Army have many churches, different countries, different states, and then they can invite you. Some those who are Baltimore, those who are New Jersey or New York, and Texas. It's in Texas, they can invite you to. And I'll be really glad that they can mention my podcast, Daily Inspirational Quotes, and then you will be glad to serve them, to share with gifts, to them for the glory of the Lord. And I'm so happy that, and be in touch with them like that. They're all also in Facebook, and I'm going to share that link with them on my Facebook page, and I will send them a message as well, and then they can listen to the whole podcast. And I said that we have a man that related to that organization. They're willing also to keep on, give speech to the young people in that community. And thank you very much. I'm glad that you're willing to serve others, with your gift because God give us gift. You have to share. We have to spread it and build others also so that they can be able to realize their dreams the way you are doing right now. Ahmad. Thank you very much. And then I know that you are a football guy. Talk to us about your experience about that because I said that you retired from football. How was that experience before for you as a footballer?
Uh, you know, uh, Sports was sort of my first. Obviously, I've been an athlete since I was like 10 years old.
Yes.
Sports has sort of been my thing. My first book was written from a sports standpoint, but it was from a metaphor. It's used as a metaphor for life. But
Okay.
my love for young people did start when I started covering college football recruiting here in the state of Texas, and so
Yes.
that was my connecting factor. But there was always just that there's always a language that because I mean I came up as a jock, and so I
That's nice.
always have a connection to athletes because we speak the language. I love locker room.
Yes.
I love just the aura of competition, right? And I really think we need to bring that level, that spirit of competition back into the country
Mm-hmm.
because we've kind of gotten to where everybody's a winner, and we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and it's just like the competition is what breeds, especially for young men. Competition
Mm-hmm.
is what molds a young man. Like it's part of our development. You can't take that from us. And so my love for athletics does come from a deeper standpoint, from a discipline, teamwork, accountability, um, um, just your assertiveness, your will to practice,
Mm-hmm.
and in the fact that there's consequences, there's a trade-off
Mm-hmm.
to these things. And when you take some of those things away, the development of young men is really hampered, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes away from you know our our inherent nature, which is to
Mm-hmm.
provide and protect for children and women, right? And so we need the competitive spirit. We need
Yes.
to
Yes.
work to we need the scars.
Yes.
We need to work to dominate, to get stronger or whatever. It's
Yes.
like we need that. Communities and countries and societies are built on that, and you can't build a society with weak men. You just can't. And so I obviously encourage sports
Mhm.
to
That's
everyone,
great.
everyone. So
That's
yes, that's
great.
where my
That's
love
great.
comes
That's
from.
great. And that's a good way that you said, Omar, that when you know that we're living in a competitive world, that's motivate us to do more efforts. For example, in a class, is you're the only one that's good that can have better grade, and then you stay the way you are. But if you know there's other students that better than you are, you'll do much effort. You will study harder so that you can reach the top score. It's like the world is a competition world. You see there are a lot of companies that are doing better things than the others. The others see it's not good. They do better one in the future because we live in a competitive world that inspires us to do much effort to understand that we're not the one in the marketplace. There are a lot of people that are doing the same thing we are doing, but each day we add value to ourselves. We add values so that we can become the best and best because the way you learn, the way you know, and the way you can give, And thank you, Ahmad, for your interview today. I'm glad I can listen to you, and then I believe that we can see another podcast interview, and then to talk more about yourself, and specifically those who are listening. You can reach to Omar and his Facebook page and then any platforms, and this podcast interview will be published and Anchor, Spotify, and also YouTube channel. People can review that interview. You can know more about Omar and reach to him personally if you need help how to reach your goals by action plan. Thank you, Omar, for your time. I appreciate that. Keep the good work. And then you young in the marketplace. And I believe before you turn 50 or 30 or 60, you're gonna accomplish a lot. Amen.
Amen. I appreciate you
Amen.
having me.
Praise God. Praise God. Have a wonderful day. God bless you more. Keep the good work. Bye bye. Bye
Thank you.
bye.